Tomorrow isn't just another day, it's not just another cosmic event, and it's definitely not just Mercury going direct after another exhausting retrograde. What's happening tomorrow, March 20th, is the single most powerful cosmic reset of the entire year, and most people have absolutely no idea what's about to hit. In less than 24 hours, two massive planetary events will collide on the same day within hours of each other, creating what astrologers are calling a double green light. And when I say green light, I mean the universe is literally giving you permission, no, a cosmic mandate, to finally break free from the situations that have been suffocating you for weeks. But here's the thing. There's one specific reason why this Mercury direct is different from every other retrograde you've survived. It's not just about emails finally going through or miscommunications clearing up. This one is fated. And if you've been feeling like you're moving through thick fog, like every decision is impossible to make, like you're trapped in situations you can't escape, keep watching, because there's one cosmic detail about tomorrow that changes everything. And I'll explain exactly what it is later in this video. For now, just know this. The version of you that's been stuck, confused, and paralyzed, that version expires tomorrow. And the three situations that have been holding you hostage, your relationships, your career, and your identity, they're about to shatter wide open. This isn't just Mercury direct, it's a cosmic ignition. Most people think Mercury retrograde is just about technology failing and travel plans going sideways. And sure, those things happen. But what's been going on for the past 3 and 2 weeks goes way deeper than a delayed package or a misunderstood text message. Since February 26th, Mercury has been retrograde in Pisces, the most emotionally saturated, boundary-dissolving, psychologically intense sign of the zodiac. This wasn't a retrograde that just delayed your plans. This was a retrograde that forced you into the depths of your own subconscious, making you question everything you thought you knew about yourself, your relationships, and your path forward. You've been swimming in murky water, unable to see the shore. Decisions that should have been simple felt impossibly complex. Conversations that needed to happen kept getting delayed or misunderstood. Projects stalled at the finish line for no logical reason. And the harder you tried to force clarity, the more confused you became. But here's what nobody tells you about Mercury retrograde in Pisces. It wasn't trying to stop you. It was preparing you. It was forcing you to gather data that your logical mind would never have accessed on its own. Emotional intelligence, intuitive knowing, psychic downloads, all that fog. It was actually you downloading the blueprint for your next chapter. And tomorrow, when Mercury stations direct, that fog doesn't just lift gradually. It evaporates instantly, like someone just flipped the lights on in a room you've been stumbling through in total darkness. Suddenly, you can see. Suddenly, you know, and suddenly the path forward is undeniable. But that's only half of what's happening tomorrow. Because at the exact same time Mercury is turning direct, something even bigger is occurring. The astrological new year detonates at the same time. Here's where things get wild. Tomorrow at 3:46 p.m., Central European Time, the Sun crosses into Aries, marking the spring equinox and the official astrological new year. This is the moment when the entire zodiac resets. Aries is the first sign, the initiator, the spark of raw life force that says, I exist, I act, I move forward. For the past month, we've been drowning in Pisces energy, surrender, release, endings, dissolution. But the second the Sun hits Aries, that entire frequency flips. Fire replaces water. Action replaces contemplation. Courage replaces confusion. And then less than 5 hours later at 8:33 p.m., Mercury stations direct. 2 green lights, 2 cosmic go signals. One in the afternoon telling you the new year has begun, and one in the evening telling you the mental fog has cleared and you can finally think straight again. This is what astrologers mean when they say double green light. It's not a gentle nudge. It's a violent, exhilarating shove into forward momentum. The universe isn't asking if you're ready. It's saying ready or not, it's time to move. And here's the detail I promised you, the one that makes this different from every other Mercury direct. Tomorrow, when Mercury stations, it will be sitting at exactly 8 degrees and 29 minutes of Pisces. And at that exact degree, at that exact moment, the north node of the moon, the point of destiny, fate, and evolutionary purpose, will be in the exact same position. Mercury conjunct the North Node at the moment of its direct station. Do you understand what that means? It means the information you receive tomorrow, the clarity that hits you, the decisions you make, they're not random, they're fated. You're not just figuring out what to do next. You're stepping into the timeline you were always meant to be on. The fog that's been choking you is about to lift. Let's be real about what the past few weeks have actually felt like. If you're spiritually sensitive, if you're even remotely tuned into energy, you've probably felt like you're losing your mind. You've been exhausted for no reason. Conversations have felt impossible. People have been acting strange, saying one thing and meaning another. You've been doubting yourself constantly, second-guessing decisions you used to make with confidence, overthinking every single thing. And the worst part, you couldn't even articulate what was wrong. It just felt off, heavy, like you're walking through invisible quicksand. This is what Mercury retrograde in Pisces does. It dissolves your sense of logic, your ability to separate your emotions from your thoughts, your capacity to see where you end and other people begin. It turns everything into emotional soup and you've been drowning in it. Maybe you've been stuck in a relationship that feels wrong, but you can't figure out how to leave. Or maybe you've been waiting for clarity on a major career decision, but every time you try to think it through, your brain just stops. Or maybe you've been questioning your entire identity, wondering if the version of yourself you've been presenting to the world is even real anymore. That's not weakness. That's not you failing. That's the retrograde doing exactly what it was designed to do, forcing you to stop relying on logic alone and start listening to the deeper, quieter voice inside you, the one that speaks in feelings, not facts, the one that knows the truth before your mind can explain it. But tomorrow, that torture ends. The moment Mercury stations direct, your mind comes back online. Not in the way it was before, better, sharper, because now it has access to all the emotional and intuitive data it collected during the retrograde. You're not going back to who you were. You're upgrading into someone who can finally integrate logic and intuition, mind and heart, action and surrender. And that's when the stuck situations start to crack open. Stuck situation 1. The relationship that's been suffocating you. You know the one, the relationship, romantic, friendship, family, professional, where you've been bending yourself into shapes that don't fit, where you've been absorbing their emotions, managing their moods, sacrificing your needs to keep the peace, where you've become smaller and quieter just to avoid conflict. During the retrograde, this dynamic became unbearable. You couldn't ignore it anymore. The resentment bubbled to the surface. The exhaustion became impossible to mask. And yet you still couldn't find the words. Every time you tried to have the conversation, it got derailed, or you talked yourself out of it, or you convinced yourself you were being dramatic. But here's what was really happening. The retrograde was showing you the truth. It was peeling back the illusions, the projections, the stories you've been telling yourself about why this relationship is worth saving. It was forcing you to feel the full weight of how much you've been giving without receiving, how much you've been accommodating without being honored. Tomorrow, when Mercury goes direct, the fog lifts, and suddenly you'll know exactly what needs to be said. The words will come, the clarity will hit, and more importantly, you'll have the courage to actually speak your truth, because Venus, the planet of love and relationships, is now in Aries, the sign of fierce independence and unapologetic boundaries. This is the cosmic combination that allows you to finally say, I'm done shrinking, I'm done overfunctioning, I'm done pretending this is working when it's not. And here's the fated part. The conversations you have around March 20th won't just be venting sessions. They will permanently reshape the relationship. Either the other person will finally hear you and rise to meet you, or the relationship will end. But either way, you will break free from the empathic trap. You will stop sacrificing yourself, and you will reclaim your right to be seen, heard, and valued exactly as you are. Stuck situation 2. The career move you've been too paralyzed to make. The project that's been sitting on your desktop for months. The business idea you keep thinking about but never launching. The job application you haven't sent. The creative work that feels too vulnerable to share. The promotion you deserve but haven't asked for. You've been stuck in vocational paralysis. Not because you're lazy, not because you lack talent or vision, but because every time you try to move forward, something stops you. The logistics don't line up. The timing feels off. You can't quite figure out the next step. Or worse, you're terrified that if you actually go for it, you'll fail spectacularly and prove to yourself that you were never good enough in the first place. During the retrograde, this paralysis became excruciating. Opportunities seemed to appear and then vanish. Contracts got delayed. Emails went unanswered. The harder you pushed, the more the universe seemed to push back. And if you're being honest, you started to wonder if maybe it just wasn't meant to be. But here's the truth. The retrograde wasn't blocking you. It was protecting you. It was making sure you didn't rush into something half-baked or launch something before you had all the pieces in place, or say yes to an opportunity that looked good on the surface but would have drained you. Tomorrow the floodgates open. Mercury direct restores forward momentum. Emails get answered. Contracts move forward. Conversations that have been stalled suddenly click into place. And on March 22nd, just 2 days later, Mars, the planet of action, forms an exact trine with Jupiter, the planet of expansion and luck. This is one of the most fortunate aspects in astrology. It's the cosmic slingshot. It's the universe saying, everything you've been preparing for, everything you've been building in the shadows, it's time. Launch the business. Send the pitch. Apply for the position. Share the work. Make the move. And because this is happening right after the fated North Node conjunction, this isn't just any career move. This is the one that aligns you with your destiny, the one that puts you on the path you were always supposed to be on, the one that finally makes you feel like you're doing what you came here to do. The paralysis shatters, the green light flashes, and you ride forward with the singular focus of a jockey racing toward the finish line, which, by the way, is the exact Sabian symbol for the degree where Mercury stations direct. Intense focus, unwavering determination, refusing to be outdistanced. Stuck situation 3, the identity crisis that's been eating you alive. This one is the deepest, the quietest, the one you might not even talk about because it feels too big, too existential, too terrifying to put into words. You've been questioning everything about who you are. Maybe you've realized the beliefs you were raised with don't actually align with what you know to be true. Maybe you've been hiding parts of yourself to fit in, to be accepted, to avoid judgment. Maybe you've been playing a role for so long that you don't even know who you are without the mask. And the retrograde made this crisis unbearable. You couldn't ignore the dissonance anymore. The gap between who you are and who you've been pretending to be became a chasm. You felt like an imposter in your own life, like you're living someone else's script, like the real you has been buried so deep you're not sure you'll ever find it again. But tomorrow, something shifts. On March 20th, just hours before the sun enters Aries, Black Moon Lilith, the wild, untamed, exiled feminine, forms a volatile aspect with Chiron, the wounded healer in Aries. This is an aspect of friction, pressure, and forced breakthrough. Lilith in Sagittarius represents the wound of being persecuted for your truth, for your beliefs, for refusing to conform. Chiron in Aries represents the wound of feeling fundamentally flawed just for existing, for taking up space, for being yourself. When these two forces collide on the day of the equinox, right before Mercury goes direct, something breaks open. The shame dissolves. The fear of being seen evaporates, and suddenly you realize, I don't need permission to be who I am. I don't need to apologize for existing. I don't need to dim my truth to make others comfortable. The Mercury direct station gives you the clarity to finally articulate this truth to yourself and to the world. The Aries energy gives you the courage to stop hiding. And the fated North Node conjunction ensures that this isn't just a temporary burst of confidence. This is a permanent, irreversible reclamation of your authentic self. You break free from the ideological cage. You shed the imposter syndrome. You step into the version of yourself that's been waiting in the shadows. The one who refuses to be small. The one who knows their worth. The one who's ready to be seen. How to ride this wave without getting swept away. Here's the thing about cosmic green lights. They're exhilarating, but they can also be overwhelming. After weeks of paralysis, the sudden rush of clarity and momentum can feel almost chaotic. You might feel like you need to do everything at once, make all the decisions immediately, burn down your entire life and rebuild it overnight. But tomorrow isn't about recklessness, it's about precision. The Sabian symbol for this degree is a jockey, not a wild stallion. The jockey is focused, skilled, strategic. They know when to hold back and when to push forward. They don't waste energy on unnecessary movements. Every action is calculated to win. So, as the fog lifts and the path becomes clear, don't just charge forward blindly. Take the clarity you receive tomorrow and let it crystallize into a concrete plan. Write down the insights, journal the realizations, have the conversations that need to happen, make the decisions you've been avoiding. But also, and this is crucial, give yourself space to integrate. Mercury will be in its post-retrograde shadow until April 9th. That means the terrain is still being mapped. The direction is clear, but some details are still emerging. You can move forward confidently, but stay flexible. Don't lock yourself into rigid plans before all the information has arrived. And pay attention to March 22nd when Mars trines Jupiter. That's the day to take massive action on the vocational front. That's the day to launch, to pitch, to go for gold. The energy is expansive, lucky, and supported. It's the cosmic wind at your back. Then on March 25th, when the Sun conjuncts Saturn, ground everything. Make it real. Commit to the new structures. Show the universe you're serious about this new chapter. And it will respond by giving you the discipline and endurance to sustain it. What happens after the green light flashes? Tomorrow is a beginning, not an ending. When the Sun crosses into Aries and Mercury stations direct, you're not just getting a temporary burst of clarity, you're crossing a threshold into an entirely new timeline. The relationships that don't align with this new version of you, they'll start to naturally fall away. The people who can't meet you at this new frequency will feel uncomfortable and they'll distance themselves without you having to do anything. And the people who are meant to be in your life at this level, they'll suddenly appear, or existing connections will deepen in ways you didn't expect. The career moves you make in the next few weeks won't just be lateral shifts. They'll be trajectory changes. They'll be the kind of decisions you look back on years from now and realize that was the moment everything changed. And the identity you're reclaiming, the real unapologetic you, that's not going back into hiding. Once you taste the freedom of being fully yourself, once you experience the relief of not having to perform or pretend, you won't be able to go back. You won't want to. Tomorrow isn't just the end of the retrograde. It's the beginning of who you were always meant to be. The fog is lifting. The green light is flashing. The jockey is gripping the res. And you're about to ride harder and faster than you ever have before. If you're still watching, I'd like to thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed the content and want to see more, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Your support is very appreciated. Feel free to share your experiences or thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care and subscribe for more insightful content.